1, 2, 3, hello everyone. 1, 2, 3, hello everyone. Klingt gut. Klingt gut, oder? Also so können wir doch coden. Klingt gut, oder? Also so können wir doch coden. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode, and I don't have water and anything, so I will take another minute before it's going on, but just be aware it will start soon. Sorry for that. So back on. Hello. So hope you are well. Good morning everyone. So you can see me well, I hope. Let's quickly check the technical stuff. Yep, all good. So today I have something very small in planned. Like for the next 2 hours I would like to create some code with you together. And as I told you already, I work currently with the Trufi organization or association a little bit on their Trufi core as an open source volunteer, and I'm really happy that there is a lot of work at the moment, and I had some ideas that we can do together because it's a lot of refactoring, like old code that we can improve into newer code. But as always, before we start, let's give you a short introduction how the current project is at the moment. You will get next week. I have there also a video about all of that, but just to have a short idea what there is going on, everything. So let me just quickly check if everything is there. Yep, that looks all good. Fantastic. Okay, so wait 1 second. I think I have to also go to Streamlabs. Like that. Always this technical stuff. As I said, I want to come back a little bit more into the live stream again, so that's why I currently just do the live streaming on this short notice and everything. But as soon as I have like a proper, I don't know, process in place, then it will be also with a bit more long-term notice and also some more information there. So all right, here we are, ready and go. Perfect. Okay. So where is the status of the project at the moment? Well, as I said, this project hasn't seen a lot of updates in the last couple of, I would say, months, like 6 months or something. Nobody really worked on it. And of course, there have been a lot of updates. And also it seems that all of this code has been generated during hackathons. So that means a lot of stuff has to be created in a lot of short time. So I just want to clean it up a little bit. So I decided to go through the issues. As you see, I made some triage, like adding some tags, asking questions, how we can solve the problems, and also created some pull requests and helped with old pull requests. For example, we have this Mammoth pull request at the moment open, and I also shared it with the Trufi team already. And here we are talking about, okay, how can we manage the translations? How could we upgrade to Flutter 2.0 and on and on? And the problem is I couldn't upgrade to Flutter 2.0 without repairing the old way of using translations. And as you see, it was quite some work on it. So it's now 3 days of work. And now finally we are in a state where the tests are running green. And I really, really hope that we can finally merge that maybe this week, maybe next week. And the idea is to get first the custom widget and maybe also the bike planning inside of the branch so that we can convert everything together to Flutter 2.0. So as you see, also here I commented, added some stuff that we get it ready, and now the only thing is missing is a reviewer. And also for the bike planning, we have the same procedure here. So also here I added some comments and we coming better into the place. So, but what do we want to do today? Because here I also created a GitHub Actions, so you can also see we run currently a Flutter test, which is really basic. It's just the execution of a test, nothing more. It's not building anything, it's just a Flutter test that is running, so that our tests are currently green, and we can the 21 tests that we have on the, I don't know how many lines of code we have here actually. Let's have a quick look. I think we have a lot. So just let's see it. I think we have quite some code. I don't know where to view that actually, but nevertheless, it's also not that important, I guess. And I should open up the stream chat actually. I forgot about that. So chat in new window. Sorry guys, I didn't see you. Hey Papadon, nice to see you again. Long time no see. Hey Mohammad Derno, nice to see you. I am not on Instagram, sorry for that. No Instagram, no Facebook, just Twitter and YouTube. To apply for a Flutter job, well, it would be good if you know several parts of Dart and of course if you know some Flutter. I think there are fantastic websites that I can present to you regarding to Flutter dev jobs. If you search for Flutter interview questions, so if you search for Flutter, oh geez, what's wrong today? Flutter interview and then add GitHub to it, there comes something very interesting, because a lot of these people have collected a lot of interview questions regarding to Flutter, and then you can check if you have some idea about it. And because I made a lot of talks with new recruiters and people who want to join Flutter and so on and so forth, and what I usually do, especially for JavaScript, is searching for JS interview questions if I prepare for an interview with other people. And then I just search for questions. And in 80% of the time, you will understand for normal companies, so if you don't want directly to start at Google or something, that you will be absolutely fine with that. And I think you have to prepare as an interviewer too, right? And what will you do? You will search for the stuff. So if you do it, you have the same benefits there, I guess. RX Dart break change when upgrading. Until now, no. Everything works, but I didn't have to work with RX Dart so much at the moment. Papadon via Twitter is the best way at the moment. All right. So, but what was my goal for today? We have currently some pull requests open, and usually I don't do that, but because the review takes some time, my idea at the moment is to rely on this Flutter 2.0 upgrade and start working, branching away from that and working on this branch so that we can improve a little bit. Papadon, you will find that down in the video description, I hope at least, or else it is at Flutter XP. So at Flutter XP. Maybe I should create a bot for that I can have something like social, and then it will automatically show the social parts. Yeah, but it's not a topic for today. I will take that with me. Do I have a to-do list? Maybe I should create one. So, you know, I think in Slack I can talk to myself, right? Yeah, fantastic. So I can add here something that is I don't know, to do, and add, what did we say, social chatbot for YouTube streams. Voila, then I will not forget that, hopefully, and if I do, please remind me again. So did I close now the chat? No, here we go. Okay. So my goal is also to create a branch from this Flutter 2.0 and then fix some stuff, because what I found out is we have currently in place some backend connections, and as you see, we call them request manager. What happens in Trufi? I don't know if you have ever seen the application, so I will show you. So the idea is that we have like a foundation, the Trufi core, and from there we just put something on top. And then we can everyone can create his own, let's say, OpenStreetMap, its own open transportation system. And it's really, really great that this is a possibility, because now you can search for a start point, and I should change that to English, I guess, that would make more sense. And you can search for origin, and you can have a distinct destination, and it will search for a path between the two. That is done via OTP, so that is the open transportation possibility. I don't know what OTP at the end means, or OTM. Yeah, then we have the OpenStreetMap and Map Tiler. On this version, I work with the cloud at the moment. So the idea is just to get the map tilers from the cloud. So let's have a look. We have currently these CFG files here inside with all that stuff. And inside of our main app, so our host app, you can see we have to set up several configurations like Trufi CFG loading, success, representatives, team, whoever works with that. And at the end, to create the whole app that you can see at the moment, we just have to run the Trufi app. So it is just this part that the host system needs to do in order to set up his own application of this here. So you can change as a host system, for example, the theme data. You can set up your own cities, configure your own map tile server, and so on and so forth. So that is the idea, and I really like the idea because at the moment I think we have already 2 cities, or it's Trufi Association that have currently 2 or 3 cities, like for example Cochabamba, which they support with the with the public transportation system. And I really like the idea, and I really hope that I can add some more value to it without destroying too much. Let's see if we are able to. So in order to see also some maps, and it's not that boring, I will add the map tiler key, which is of course a secret usually. So map tiler key. And with that, we should now, if I hot restart or rebuild, we should even see the maps on the ground. So we have the possibility to switch between satellite image, hybrid image, and the street image. So Papadon has a problem. Let's read it. When I update Flutter, I face the problem. Children gutter problem. Can you explain what is this? Children getter problem I faced, please explain. It's very hard to explain that because I don't know what it is. When does it appear? Do you have an error message? Because I think if I would Google just for children gutter problem, I will find anything, right? Yeah, rock and roll girl. I think that is not the correct one. Okay, but as you see at the moment, my map tiler is set up that I am at Cochabamba, and the good thing about that is if I search now here inside Beauty Kame and I don't know Kili Chocolo, then it will create me a path. So we can also see this is now via a minivan, I think. So you get also the information about minibus, how the transportation is. Okay, here is a line break issue, so maybe this is also an issue that I can create in the repository right away. So let's add that, bring it into play. Oops, don't cut that. I think we should do that properly. No, that's good enough, I think, to understand what happens. So, and now what we can do is creating a new issue. In the travel explanation or description. So then we can describe the bug. When searching for a route with minivan, we see the line breaks in the application. To reproduce, first search for destination. What did we use? The destination was Beauty Kame. Okay, the second thing is search for Kiliakolo. For what is the other one? This is the destination, right? Destination, and this is the origin. Colo. Kila Colo. Yeah. Expected behavior. Make line breaks instead of showing \n. Screenshot. We have a screenshot. So adding them. So I'm a bit detailed now, but I thought this would be maybe valuable, how you can work in open source, what is important to have there an eye on, and so on and so forth. So we add also a label, which is a bug in our case. And I guess this shouldn't be a problem. So it's a good first issue, I guess, because it's just text to change, right? So probably easy to understand and easy to fix, hopefully. So just have a quick look in the chat. There is everything fine, fantastic. So, okay, but next, so what do I want to do today? Besides of showing you the application, give you a short introduction so we can find the travel lines, everything works like that. So we work here with the map tiler, as I said, OTP, which is the Open Transportation Public API or something. It's a server, you can set up them yourself locally and so on and so forth. And I think we have also other ports that we can work on, which is pretty cool. So now the idea here is to get that ready. And what we need to do instead of having that all the time, we have to get these. And next step would be to local de en, that's that. We come here having these in place. Yeah, so back to my idea, what I wanted to improve. Yeah, hey Minu, yeah. As I said at the beginning, I want to be a bit more live at the moment. So I will try a bit. I hope in the next few days I can also present you with like a step when I will be online. So I have a better timetable. So you will not be surprised anymore that I just jump in, hopefully. And then let's see. I know it's early in the morning, so we will do like 2 hours till 12 o'clock. Then I will eat something, and maybe this afternoon we have a second session. But let's see. Okay, regarding to all these offline request managers, I had a pretty tough time this morning, especially if it's going with these fetch localations. The problem here is, as you see already, we get back a dynamic. And if you know me, you know that we have a typed system and I want that it is a typed system and for everything. So here it's also dynamic. We have these cancel fetch plans. So what actually happens here is we ask more or less our, I want to say backend, to get, for example, some information from the storage. And the storage is just some kind of backend system that contains all the places and all the streets that we have here. And as you see, the places and streets are so-called Trufi location and Trufi streets. And a Trufi street is interesting because it contains a Trufi location. Okay, and a junction, so which is a Trufi junction, but okay. And that means the Trufi location contains a description, latitude, longitude, some names, localized names, and so on and so forth. So what my goal is for today is actually to clean that a little bit up so that we, instead of passing down a list of dynamic, something more speakable. So that we have here maybe a Trufi location, or that we have a Trufi street, or maybe we have a list with both of them or something, but only 2 of them. I changed my theme this morning, that's correct, and I use again the, let me check, that is in plugins, here we go. One dark theme is it that I'm currently using. And I increased the font size a little bit so that you have it easier to read, because I checked yesterday my own streams and I thought, let's make it a bit bigger. This is not with Firebase, as far as I have understood. Even the online manager works, I think, directly on the OTP server. So if we check here, we have the user agent, we make this HTTP GET. So it's quite complicated quite complicated setup here. But what happens is we take the OTP endpoint at the search path, which is geocode, I think. And after that, adding all these queries, and then we receive something from the OTP server directly. So the long run goal of mine would be to change this OTP server to an own instance locally so that I can debug a little bit better. But what does that mean for us, or what I want to achieve here? So we have these fetch locations, and as I said, we have this future of list dynamic. But where does this dynamic even come from? Why does this have to be dynamic in the long run? So let's have a look. We have some kind of favorite locations block. Block is just an Rx start, I think, part where we have these blocks inside. Let me quickly check. So they create so much stuff around everything. Locations, block base, it's a block base and a block provider. So everything is a little bit self-coded here, I think. Most of the stuff you would do today now via library, I guess. So maybe we can also change that in the long run. But at the moment, we just keep it like that and start small as always, right? I need to also get a feeling on how the application is working. So one idea would be to just start rewriting everything, saying, okay, hey, no idea, I just rewrite everything and do it. But this is usually not a very good commented code necessary, maybe. Yes, indeed. So you could create comments here that would also help already a lot. So especially if you go here and comment that stuff like dynamic should be or something. But at the moment, it's very hard, right? If I want to use this fetch location from another place, like here, and let's say I would make Command P, I have no idea what this thing does, right? I get even redirected completely somewhere different and so on and so forth. So it's very hard to really understand where you are and what is actually happening. Because as you see, I'm now in the request manager block and some stuff is happening. And as you see, it's got in control. Sometimes it's got some comments, sometimes it did not, and so on and so forth. And also the request manager here is not in use, which is also very interesting because, well, there our request managers are inside if we want to work offline or online. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do, of course, as always in such open source projects, I would say, or even in every project, to be honest. But as I said, before we start now and starting to rewrite everything and even add comments, I think here are some stuff like sort by Levenstein, cut off by limit, remove Levenstein, and so on. I would even say that these comments here are not really helpful. They are more distracting because, let's be honest, search in places and streets, I can read that. The code says me that, right? So I don't have a benefit from these comments necessarily. But before we start with all of that, and because I'm a big fan of testing, I will write some tests for it because I want to first understand what this thing wants from us. Because as you see, the testing is also not great. So we don't have so many testings in place. So before I start to destroy something, I want to have at least a basic understanding what is happening here. So, and for that, we quickly have to check what is actually necessary. So they take the favorite locations block and location search block. And already here we start with some problems because if we do it like that, we don't have a chance to mock this stuff, you know? So here already our first problem starts because we cannot test that easily. But let's start with the smaller problems and then go to the bigger ones, right? So how is our folder structure? So we have lib, blocks, request managers, and then we have the problem here. Okay, so let's recreate that here in our test. So we have our folder blocks. Inside here we have the, what is it? Request manager? Request manager. And now inside of this file, we want to create this offline request manager test. So offline request manager test. And if you ask yourself why I'm starting with the offline request, offline request manager. The reason is quite simple. If we take a look on fetchLocation, then we will see that we returned it somewhere. We get that from the fetch locations here. And I think somewhere we have a fix me. For now, this someday for now. So that's that part. At the moment, we call only the offline request manager. So the online request manager is not even implemented yet. And that's the reason why we work first on this one, to get that one beautiful and running. And after that, we will take care of the online request manager. Whew. Okay, so that was a lot of explanation. So let's get started. Writing some code. So we group the whole thing to know what we want to fix. So this is offline request manager. So if you have ideas, if I do something wrong or something like that, please let me know, of course, right? So that we can work on that together. So my first idea would be to create some sort of possibility to add these things via a constructor, right? Because these favorite locations block would be necessary to create a widget surrounding these offline request managers somewhere. And this is quite difficult to do. So I would have, as an idea would be that I will have a request manager. Inside of here, we have the two blocks that we necessarily need. So we need a favorite location block. And we need the location search block. So let's clean that up a little bit. Of course, it will complain because we don't have this at the moment. So the idea is more to bring that up. Getting this in play. My keyboard don't like me this morning. So, and we get this location search block. And the next step or the next idea that I have, that doesn't work. I think we need to add it here. Good. So, and now we have this future. So why do you complain? Because that. Okay. Okay, so the next problem that I have is at the moment they would be optional, right? So I could add now a add required, but as you probably know, this add required allows me only to use it if I have material imported. And in the long run, these services, in my opinion, should be without any knowledge about the material package, because Flutter this is a service, right? It has nothing to do with our UI. So why should it have awareness of our UI? And the reason for that is at the moment because we need the context everywhere. So what I do instead of doing this at the moment, what I could do is creating the method where we pass in the blocks, or we create the blocks up here. And now I have to think quickly which one would be better. It would be access libraries. Yes, exactly. It would use the material library in any place. So that means here the dependencies from this manager is quite heavy loaded because it has the whole build block stuff inside. But now I have to ask myself, can I do this even? So can I create this once and reuse always the same blocks? Because we use the context, it could be that they change over time, right? So if I'm taking a look, yeah, so we get the context always inside. So my idea would be to remove, so I think this wouldn't be a good solution, at least not immediately, because we don't know if this is necessary that these blocks are changing all the time. So my idea would be to add here the favorite location block and also the location search block. For that, I will remove these two here. So we get the context at the moment. What are they using even? That is interesting. They also need the context for fetch places with query, and they need the context. So you see my problem with this context stuff, right? It's going really everywhere and pollutes everything. And this is UI stuff. So why do I need the context here is the question. And the question is, the answer is, I don't. Fantastic. So there is not even necessary stuff with the context. So it is even not mandatory. So that is very good to know, because now we can remove that. We can remove it here. Probably we could even inline this line of code, because, well, if I have one line there and one line there, it is nearly the same. And we can get rid of this context stuff here too. So I hope you understand my problems with the whole code here and why I want to clean up that a little bit. So fetch places with query, we get the query inside. Fantastic. Good, so now we get these two blocks, so we can remove them because they wouldn't be necessary from here. We get them from here. You are now angry because, let's take a second to read. Future list dynamic function build context string int. Aha, the reason is the request manager here, and we are taking the information from there, requires us to use the fetch locations in this way. And I hope you all agree if we say that is not the case anymore. But I think both of the managers will react on that. That would mean that we have to do the same changes also here. Do we use the same blocks is the question. So we have here the favorite location block, and I have no idea if the other one is used. So instead of doing this at the moment, what I will do is I will create a new one for now that with and I added to do in this case because could be merged with fetch locations. And here inside, we also want to pass in a dynamic. I keep that for now, fetch locations offline. So it's just that we have first we change the one and then we take care of the other. I think this is not the right one. This one is the right one. So we get these two things inside. Of course, we have to import them at the moment. That's also not optimal, but we will have a look. So now we have that. It's getting yellowish a little bit because we probably have to create. Done that. And now we are running. Good. No? It's mandatory to implement everything. Okay, so I guess this is now, if I'm looking here, this implements the stuff. That means we have to get that also here. Not necessarily the best option here. So, okay, so maybe we have to really change it. Fetch location wouldn't get any context anymore. It would receive only these two blocks. And then let's see where we have to change it now everywhere. So this guy is calling that, that's fine. We keep that for now. This one will work now, and this work manager has now problems. Hey Yannis, nice to see you. We are working currently a little bit on the Trufi application. I don't know if you heard about that. I work currently for an open source project a little bit. And this is the Trufi application, preferences block. And for now, I try to clean that up a little bit for the whole fetch locations and doing stuff and so on. The only downside of that is, of course, who knows if all of that is correct, what I will do, because nobody has tests for it. So we will have to take some time to really understand what is going on here. So this has to be part of the parent now. So it will be a big refactoring, or we are doing some kind of refactoring for all of that at the moment. So, and it could be that it's not the perfect way to do it at the moment. That's just because it is really a little bit messy here in the source code. But if you have some options or ideas how to make it better, please let me know, right? That's always open for everyone. So what is going on here? This one needs still the context. We remove that for now. And also this is working. So the context is not necessarily necessary for all that stuff here. So it's just to pollute everything. So what do we have here? Why do we need the context here? Sorted by favorites. some sort, and here needs to be the favorite location block because we want to get all the locations. Yeah, no. Okay, but we will do that step by step. So why is this now red? We have this request manager, and what is up here? Fetch locations. So this one is calling the offline request manager fetch location and gets the context. But actually what we will do is we will pass in these different block container from the context. So we will take that dot off context. So even though that I don't like that this one has access to the context, I think it has exactly. We will change also that in the future, I guess. So let's see, we have that. We get this down here, then the next one off context, and the last one would be the preferences block at the moment off context. So it would be great if we could say something like this one is optional for that one, and I think we can do that, right? I think we can do something like, nah, I think that is not good yet. Keep it for now. Okay, so finally we made something green again. I think we have still some issues here. 2 is my friend. So we get the fetch location here. 2 is also overwritten somewhere. No. So fetch location function build context, but we want to have these 3 blocks. So I would say this needs to be these 3 blocks. And why is it not working? Okay, it needs to be imported. Okay, okay. Off isn't a type. Isn't a type. Request manager, fetch location function. Ah, it just wants to. I'm not completely aware what this one does here. What is going on here? So if fetch location operation is not null, then we do some stuff. Fetch location lock is locked, then we synchronize the stuff. And there we call these 3 location parts. Okay, so what we do is taking these 3, putting that away, and say favorite location block, location search block, and preferences block. Good. So, and now we get some more issues because they want to get that, but you actually get the favorite block, the location block, and the preferences block. I tried to refactor this application that I got here, so it will take some time. So, and here we get actually the location block already. So that's, oh no, this is localization, that's something different. Build search results, and here we finally have the widget. So finally we have the call found that is actually done to get these information. What do you want? You want this list of, and why do we give the future of that? To get the future builder done, okay. Interesting. Okay, but this one has changed now. We have to pass in these 3 block parts, right? So what we will do is adding here this comma, and now we need to get these. What is the first one? We have the favorite location block dot off context. Then we have the location search block dot off context. And last but not least, we will have the preferences block dot off context. as I said, don't worry if it is not beautiful yet. It hopefully will be soon. So we have to do this as the first step to at least can work on that, because now we can at least write some tests for it, right? So the whole reason we did that is actually to make it testable. So we can set in these parts. We have this to list. We have this sort stuff. We merge and sort. All right. So let's see what we can do. Now that we have all that done, we can go to our test once more. I think Command-Shift-T it is. Oh, fantastic. So this is our method that we want to call. And so let's get this. And I think the class for that is our subject. So we create that here, or better in our group. So we have a var subject equals, this is the offline request manager. And in our setup method, every time we run a test, we want to create a new of them. So that's why this one comes into here. So subject is equal to this. Good. And in our first test, should do something. And this test is just to get the status quo, that we see what this one does actually, because I have no idea. Yeah, we have to find a solution that get a result, right? So final result equals this. And then we expect something. Let's say the result is dot length. Result should be a list of, because the subject is var. This is of course offline request manager. And now he should understand that this is a list of dynamic. And here we get result dot length. Of course we wait here. I don't know, is 5. So this will fail, of course, in the first beginning, especially because we have now to give inside different block pattern. So for that, we need to write some mocks, I guess, to override them directly. And we have Mockito in place. So we have a package called Mockito. Mockito, just to show you in the pubspec.yaml, we have currently somewhere Mockito 414 in place. So that means we want now to mock these things. How to integrate Siri in a Flutter application? I think there are multiple ways to do it, actually. The only thing is that could be a problem is that there will be not so many packages, right? You will have to directly access it. Flutter package to exposure, Siri suggests and also awakes specific functions by Siri. So that is the only package that I see at the moment. And I think there are also a lot of paid services where you have the possibility to access Siri with Flutter. But yeah, you have to pay for it. So what do we have? 5 positional arguments expected but found 0. Plugin is not working. Pretty tough, Armin. I have no idea, to be honest. I cannot help you there so much, I guess. So back to the mocks. So we need now, what do we need actually? We need 4 mocks, I think. Favorite location block. So that means we have a class favorite mock favorite location block. I think it was extends mock and implements the real one, right? So that would be favorite location block. Is that right? We have to import Mockito and that's it. And we add 2 more. So that is the favorite location block, but we have also the preference block, right? So preference block, and the other one was, what is the name? What is project's theme? The project theme, I guess it is the default one, so you will find that here. This one. So preference, and what is the last one? Location search block. Location search block. Good. Search block, and here we have the preferences block. Okay, this can be gone, and now we have our free mock classes created, and in our test we can now use them. The question is regarding that we will write multiple tests for that, right? We can also create the mocks up here. So what we could do is mock favorite location would be a favorite location block equals, I think we can also recreate that via the setup method. My reply was, I cannot help you that much. Sorry, I have never integrated Siri, so there is not so much how I can help you. So, and the last one is the mock location block. Search block, fantastic. So, and here we can now mock these things. So favorite location block is equal to mock favorite location block. And thanks to the mocking, we don't have to pass anything in. Then we have the preferences block, which is the mock preferences block. And last but not least, the location search block is mock location search block. Hey, Bright Nixon, we are currently building or working further on this Trufi application, and there is some stuff that has to be done, and we are trying to refactor this fetch locations method that we have here. And that relied heavily on the context at the moment, and I tried to change that to make it more testable, for example, and give some examples on how we can improve the code there. So that is my goal for today. Let's see how far we come, because yeah, I needed to start pretty late, and at 12 I get something to eat. So let's see. Preferences block. And what do we have else? I think we have also to give a query inside, so test query. And last but not least would be the limit. So I give that 30 for now. Limit is a good name. I think that only shows us as many elements that we get. So after all of that, no worry, Bright Nixon, always with pleasure. So with that in mind, we can let this test run and let's see what happens. I probably guess that we get somewhere a null exception, which is totally fine. So let's see. Yes, we run into null. The method then was called on null. So the problem is somewhere closure calling then null. So let's see. Should do something. This is the test. Let's see where we have the implementation here at this place. So the wait, the method then was called on null. So I guess these two things get some troubles here. And the question is which one? Can we see further? We have the async. No, from there on it's getting a bit messy, I guess. So instead of doing this in two places or two connections, and to make it more debuggable, instead of doing both at the same time, so this is what this future await here does, we want to do it separately. So what I will do is I take this one and say something like, okay, final fetch places, or let's say this one will return me a list of places, I guess. So let's say places for now. And the other one seems to return us a list of streets, right? So add streets, location search block, dot fetch streets with query, and fine. Not really, Suas. I have to do the same thing, I guess. And then at the end, we do expand. So that means both of the objects getting combined somehow. So we have here a combination of them. Okay, in order to don't destroy anything, how can we do that? We can create a new list and then we do the same objects part. So that would mean we have a final combined list, And for that, we will use the good old spread operator for places and streets. And now this should be final. So it complains now. What is the reason? Must implement iterable. Okay, so you are not a list. We don't wait. So let's wait for them. And we get our elements. Good. So it seems here there was a list. We added both of them as a list. So I am not sure if we received one list here at the end. So what is this doing? Expand. Expands each element of the iterable into 0 or more elements. The result iterable runs through the element, return F for each element of this in iteration order. It calls F. So we flattened, it's just flattens both lists, is that correct? Okay, so that should do exactly the same thing what I did here. Because as far as I know, we just receive a list of this Levenstein object in both cases. But I think I changed too much the behavior here already. Expand to list. Okay, so instead of doing this, we say here also expand. This is element, and then at the end we say to list. So I think that should be exactly the same part. So here we have to rename Levenstein objects. So everything seemed to work normal, that's good. And now the question is, can we get this now done? So we can now finally mock this on the location block, right? So we can do... wait, let's don't change that so far. I think the idea is good, but I think we shouldn't do that yet without having a test in place, because it could be that my stuff is changing the whole how the application behaves, and I don't want to do that slightly. So what we also have to do is just mocking these two methods, I think, so that shouldn't be too hard. So let's see, we go to the location search block and we mock now the thing. So how was it? When? Then the location search block dot, what is the method we have? Fetch places with query, I guess. Can we say here any? Then return, and now we can return something. So we get that and we return a list. For now, just empty, just to see if this is working. So T is expected. Isn't a future list as required by the closure? Okay, so this needs to be async. Fine. Okay, so we return here, when we call this fetch places with query, we return an empty list at the moment. So next step would be we say, okay, if the same thing is getting called with the fetch streets with query, then we return also an empty list for now, just to make it easy, and see if we get actually something back. So. All right, so with that in place, we should at least don't get any null errors anymore, but let's see. On the other hand, if I'm checking this, I think there should be also the other blocks, right? So location search block is that. And then we have the favorite locations block, and here we need some locations. Unmodifier list view. What? Another view of another list. The source of the elements may be iterable. Okay, we get some kind of list back, which seems to be convertible into a list. Okay. So when we call the favorite location block dot locations, then we return also a list. So I think here we can just return the list without anything else. Good. So now let's see if this test breaks or if we have at least no null point errors anymore. So there were some complication. Let's see where this comes from. No method stop was called from within when. Was a real method call called or perhaps an extension method? No. Probably I have to pass inside the query. And the query would be, in our case, what did we say? Test query. So what I will do is creating an object for that. Query. Why query too? Just call it query and put that up here. So it's final. And this query will be now our main query that we receive everywhere. So you get the query and you get the query. And down here, you get the query. So now why is it red? The argument future list dynamic function dynamic can't be assigned to future list Levenstein object. Okay, so this wants to have a type Levenstein object. No? The argument type future list Levenstein object function dynamic can't be assigned to the parameter. Ah, okay, it's a different parameter. I got it. Okay, that is the problem. So then returns, and now we return a list. So you don't want to get anything else. Beforehand it was like returning some weird stuff. So that should be that. And what do you want? You are still dynamic and future. So how can I return future of value? I have never done a real estate app, but I know several that are really, really good. So what do you search for help there? What is your most problem in these areas? To find the APIs necessary, or what's your goal with that app is the question. So invalid arguments then return should not be used to return a future. Instead use then answer. Okay, then we use then answer. And then we have something and return the future. Then answer. Okay, perfect. So everything works, but the problem is we receive nothing, which is fantastic because we don't have anything in these lists yet, right? So that makes sense, I guess. And now let's read quickly what happens next. So in our code, we sort now some stuff, and after that we get the length is limit stuff, blah, blah, blah. We make something with it, we map it, and we merge sort and return then objects. So the question would be, what happens if I pass here now some of the objects inside? So I think we have here these Levenstein objects, and I think we should mark them as that, just to make sure that we pass also the right things inside. So we have this Levenstein object, which takes in an object, could be everything. So what is an object? Dynamic. So now it's getting interested because here's where the problem happens, right? So we get this object. So now we have to identify what this object can be. So for what is it used? So we get that used back inside of our fetch. We get that here back inside of here. This here is now a list of these Levenstein objects. And we compare the distance here. And we get the remove range, we get the map. So here we ask for the object back. So whatever is this object is the only thing we return actually. And then we make a merge sort about the Trufi street and some kind of location. Sort by favorite location. So here it is a Trufi location. And then we get the objects. So where is this used? This whole thing is used in the delegate. We build future, build result list. We get somewhere this. Request manager, we get these 3 things. And then build future builder. Location, we get here the list of dynamic snapshot. So snapshot can be an error, it can have no data, and down here it's going to be interesting. So here we receive that. That could be is empty, I guess. And now what? Where? Snapshot data. Here is it used. So we go here and say, oh, what is going on here? We take our objects, we do stuff with it, and here, look at that. Okay, so it is a Trufi location, or it is a Trufi street. Aha, that's important. So yeah, good. That is the point. So we have either a street, a Trufi street, or the Trufi location. And this is the only thing that is interesting? What? Okay, that is interesting. So that means this object here is, wait, this is the street, so this is a Trufi street. And the distance is, I don't know, 5. So a Trufi street. Require this location. Location is a Trufi location. And this one has a lot of stuff in it. Is this required stuff? So yeah, some latitude, some description, hello world. Don't make this enter. And the longitude. Well, the proper API together with best design inspirations. Also wanted to have a chat room within that. Okay, so for the chat room, I know there are fantastic videos from colleagues like Andrea from Learn with Andrea Bisetto, I think. He's from Italy. He creates a fantastic chat room app that you can include. For best design inspirations, I highly recommend you websites like Dribble or Moyo, I think, is also one. So there are some fantastic websites where you get inspirations and which you can take and create maybe with Figma your own designs that you want to use. And regarding proper API, well, I highly recommend you to use an JSON serializer at the end, or working with GraphQL or something like that. So you will have to take some time to get into the whole topic with APIs calls, because they could be very large at the end, to just mention that with 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, but now here we have now our Levenstein object, which seems to be only existent for Trufi Street or Trufi Place or something, or for Trufi location itself. So here we have now, in the other hand, Levenstein object with the Trufi location directly, which then has the description, hello immer noch world, hello every world. The distance could be, I don't know, 50 and 109. Okay. Asante. Tanzania, asante. You're most welcome. It's really great to talk with people from all over the world. I really love that. I have never been in Tanzania, to be honest. On our world travel, we skipped South Africa somehow, but we had some very bad experience in Morocco, so that was our reason. Was a bit sad, to be honest. Maybe we do that in the future sometime. So now with that, we should get an result length of 2. if I'm right. So let's see what the test is telling us. So no, it doesn't seem like that. The method contains was called on null. This is now the favorite part, I guess, we didn't mocked yet. So down here we call for this part, and I'm pretty sure because we make this merge sort, we get these locations. Unmodified list, okay. So now we have to mock this list here somehow. So how can we do that? We go up here and say something like, okay, when this method location, the scatter location was called, so favorite location locations is called, then return, I don't know, empty list. I don't have any favorites yet. Good. So let's see where the test brings us now. Fantastic. Okay, so this test doesn't tell us anything yet, right? But it helped us to understand how these methods work, because as you know, I have no clue about this application as much as you do. And so I need to go step by step to identify what can be done and how is it used. And it seems that our method with this information that we passed in now works. So at least this is something that we can say now. Now the next step is to make it a bit more feasible and understandable what exactly happens here. So for example, what we would need to is like getting an order. It seems that we merge sort here. So we need to get some kind of order of these parts. So first of all, we don't have any favorites yet. So we would start with probably this part here. So if it is a Trufi street, then we sort it somehow. Fantastic, right, Nixon. Very happy with that. If you like that, thank you for your feedback. I'm always very happy. If you have negative feedback, I'm also open, right? So don't be too charming. I'm also happy to improve myself. Always important, I guess, in my situation. I really don't like the line breaks here, but okay. Good, so we have that and we get now this as green. So how can we now evaluate the sort options? So here we have the Trufi street with this Levenscheid object. So by what they get sorted would be the question. So they sort that by, so streets before, do I understand that right? So they sort streets before locations or after locations, one of the both. So let's see. That would mean that the first object at the moment, expect that the result first should be, how can we test that? So result first, I want to get true or false. True, that result first is equal or is Trufi street, right? So that is my expectation. And also true is that the result 1 should be a Trufi location. Let's see what we get. All right, so the order is important. That would mean if I add here, for example, a second street, we will get also that this street is between them. What I don't understand, and maybe you know better than me, is according to that what happens here. I think we get first the places and afterwards the streets. So if this is the case, the question is, what does this merge sort does? Because in my head, it would be already ordered by something. We have these objects, Levenscheid object map, where we get the object only in a list. That means we order by the distance. That's the reason. Okay, so we order first by the distance and afterwards we sort if it is a street or a Okay, that explains a lot. So we order first by the distance and afterwards by what it is. To make it a bit more beautiful, I will create here for now a method get get Levenscheid no, get Trufi location list. Trufi location list. So, and the same thing for here. Get Trufi street list. What is that? No. Here I want to create get Trufi street list. All right, so now we have these two, and it's a bit shorter, but we have to add more Trufi objects, I guess. So we will not be happy with that amount. That would mean we need to add more of these Levenstein objects here. Kind of that, and the distance here needs to be variable, right? So we have sometimes 30, we have something, I don't know, can it be negative a distance? I don't think so, I hope at least. So let's say we have here 190 and 109. So we will have to check out later which of these distances is correct for us. So if this is the correct result we receive before we refactor. And remember, this is all before we even change anything of the code. Like the code itself here is nearly the same. The only thing we did is make it testable. So that is the only thing we currently change on this method. And it's still already that much that we can test, right? So keep that in mind. And if you don't know why I'm testing, it's because I need to know how the method works correctly so that I can change it in a way that the stuff is still working at the end and I don't change anything of the behavior that we have currently. So for the this object here, we also can create multiple ones. And also here we have to change some stuff. I think we can take that line break away. So to make it a bit more, I don't know, flexible. Still looks ugly, but cannot do anything. Oh, maybe like that? No. Anyway, I think that would be maybe an option. Good. So we have these objects here with the street. So also here we have a latitude that can be different, I don't know. And this one will be also again the distance. So we have here, for example, 105, 22, and I think for 53, something like that. So with that in place, we have the latitude. I don't know if this is so important for us, but let's change that also, frankly, so that we have some... Oh, I think a longitude cannot be something larger than 90. Let's reduce that to 55. So if we would show that on a map, it would look very terrible, I guess. But I think you get the point that I want to achieve here. So, and inside of here, we have now different results, right? So let's run our test and let's see what happens. The length should be something around 6, I guess. Yep, that looks good. But this one should now fail too, because 0 is not anymore true. And as you see, we are not really expressive here. So this is not good. So what we expect is that this is true. And I think we should turn that around for the future. So currently we have not, we expect not this. So it would be like this. And then we can see it in the test, I think, better. Not really. Can we give us some description into this expect? I think we have a matcher and we have a reason. So we can say, for example, first result is not Trufi Street. And here we can say as a reason, second result is not Trufi location. So with these reasons, you have a chance to give your developer colleagues an advantage because they can read now what is the problem. So there you get like a bit more informations into it. So that means the street will be always more important. So that means the second one is a street probably. I take that away again, sorry. So that means the second one will be a street. I guess the third one will be a street because we sort that first, right? then the interesting part would be to know which of these streets it is at which location. So which destination is where. But we will have that in a sec. So we add these information here. Is not a Trufi street, is not a Trufi street. And then we have the same thing, but for the location, right? So this is Trufi location. That looks terrible. And I think you have the same feeling, right? So this is not good. So let's think about it. How can we do it easier? We can write a for loop, go through each of them. For, I don't know, final result in results. No, I think we have to rename the result up here into results. Good. And we say one time this. And here we take the result. And this is true for if. Can we pass in a counter here? So I think we have to write it ourselves. So this is var I equals 0, I is smaller than results dot length, and I plus plus. And now we get the results at a certain location. And what I want to say is if I is smaller than 3, so 0, 1, and 2, then we expect this. And if I is larger than 3, then we expect the opposite. So getting rid of that. Okay, I think we can even make it more cleaner but I think that is more or less what we want to expect. Let's see what happens. The expect keyword. Because we are in a test, we as developers expect something. We expect that the result at a certain location is a Trufi street. And on the opposite side, we expect that a result at a certain location that is higher than 3 is a Trufi location. Why I'm doing that is because if you take a look into the method that we do, then we have down here a lot of searches and sort functions. So I have to test the sorts that here, for example, we sort by the object. So it checks if this is a Trufi street and then it sorts it by a certain way. And because I cannot change this method without keeping the same behavior like before, I need to write a lot of tests for now. So yeah, this is my general idea at the moment. So what I will do is should sort streets first. So I think by all done what we have done, this is the outcome. So we have identified that the streets are getting sorted first. And what I will do is I take all of these whens up into the setup part, because I think all our methods will need that in the long run. And adding the query, I think I will add the query as a const at top of everything. Not here, I will add it here and say this is a const. So. No tests match should do something. Yeah, okay, sure. Yep, let's run that. And the tests are running again. Fantastic. So let's can I yeah. I think I have to mark that and then command dot and then it's getting small. Fantastic. Good. So that is already quite a benefit. I just check quickly my messages. There is nothing. That's good. That's also good. And on that side, nothing has been done so far. And that's also amazing. Cool. So back to here. So we have now the test that we want to sort by street first. That's something that we found out. The other thing is here we sort by destination. And it seems that from these Levenstein objects, the distance should be somewhere. So A distance is compared to B distance. So I would say that we want to have the shortest distance up front. So that would be the next sort that we have to test. So test should sort shortest distance first, right? And also here we do the same thing, more or less. We first prepare everything. So I think we have most of it. So we can now go with final results equals await subject. We can fetch the location, and we shouldn't do here a dot. And pass everything in. To be honest, I think I can just copy the whole thing over. Okay, so we have to make that asynchronous. And now we get the result here. Okay, so to order or to find out if the order is correctly, we first have to take a look that they are out of sync. So this is the distance, right? If I have understood that correctly in this object. Yep. So as you see, we have one time a very high distance, then a very low one, and a very big one. So the idea would be that this here with the description hello world should be different. It's short distance. And this one is, let's say, long distance. And the last one is medium distance. So, and the other part, where is it? Down here. And we have to rename this here. Get Trufi location list. So, and here we have also the longest on top. No, I think they are different. Fantastic, it's even better. So instead of calling that here hello every world, we call it location dot colon and medium. This one is location longest. Let's add the distance. I think it makes it more expressive. And the last one should be location, and this has the shortest. Cool. So now they are more expressive. We know where they are. And now we can test by them. So we get these results back again. And what we can do is just check the results again. I think we can take the for loop again. For, is it final? Yeah, final result in results. And I just want to check the first three, to be honest. So, can I do it with that? No, I cannot. So we don't even know what result is. That is interesting. Result is a list of dynamic, right? So list of dynamic. And we can use the normal for loop. I have an idea. So if we have a final result in results, we can pass down here the following. We can say that if result is a Trufi street, which we know by this test already that they are on top, then we know here, okay, result dot distance location. Yeah, so the description name of the first one, how can we say that? I think we need the other expression, unfortunately, because I want to say that the first one that we receive has a different value. Okay, so we have results of I is Trufi street, then result description. So I can say something like if I equals 0, the result description should be expect result description to be results of I. Create a variable for that. This is final result equals that result. So now we receive our result. I just created a variable for that. Unfortunately, my keyboard is a bit wicked here in that area. So, and now we expect that the first result at the location 0 should be, let's have a look, that would be streets, that would be the smallest one, so short distance. And then we can increase that by 1 and 2. And we have the medium distance and long distance. And then we can say, I think we don't even need that because we know the length, so that's fine. So, and then we can also give the other 3, 4, 5, and that would be not long distance, they are now this ones, and we expect that the shortest distance is first. Then we have the medium distance and the longest distance. Where is it? Where is it? Down here. Good. And now let's let our tests run and let's see what we have. Sort the shortest distance. Okay, interesting. So the longest distance gets up front. So this is interesting. That means our expectation is actually wrong. That stays the same, but it is this way around. So that would mean they are also wrong way. No, this stays the same, I think. So this is 3 and what have I done? So I've moved stuff around without thinking. So the shortest distance comes to the bottom, the medium distance in the center. And then would that be 3, this stays 4, and this is going to be 5. So now you probably see how important it is that we don't just assume stuff. But, So for the streets, no, for the locations, it's the one way around, and for the so even more important that we test, because that is crazy. Okay, 4 and 5. So let's see. That's hilarious. I don't know if this is expected. I think this is a bug. So, all right, sorry, I have the chat not open anymore. Sorry for that. Hey, Stefan, long time no see. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so what that means is, and this is really sad, that, how can I explain it? So the street list that we receive up here gets somehow organized in the wrong direction. And here, Levenscheid's object length, we reduce the limit. So that means we don't get as many objects as we probably got already. So these fetch places with query, oops, sorry, wrong keyboard shortcut. So with these here, receives us a lot of, why do we pass in then the query inside? This is just a name, of course. Okay. So we create a lot of objects, cut them off until a specific limit. So that would mean we have to create, in order to test that, we would have to create a larger amount of them rather than having the limit. So let's see, we are calling, so where is it, that part? So here we have the limit at 30, let's cut that off at 5. But I think not here. where we should do it is in a separated test. So we create a new test, should take the, how do you call it, limit into account. All right, Stefan, hopefully we will see us soon. I hope that I will be this afternoon also once more live, but I know that with your work it's pretty tough to be able to join. So don't you worry. Thank you for being here. And I promised you some feedback plan. I really hope that I can manage it and set it up sooner or later. Sorry that this is not the case at the moment. Okay, so now we have that stuff. We want to test a little bit further. The idea is here what? We get the favorite locations. We get the locations of that, but the problem is the limit. So we need the result again. We get that here. And this one should be a fairly simple test because we just get the infos here. And at the end we say, okay, we expect that the results length does not exceed 5. So, and another test that should be green. Fantastic. Yeah, it's also nice to be back on streams. Really, I really appreciate it. Is this? Yeah, cool. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, what do I look here? Yeah, all good. Cool. Okay, so now we have these tests running and we are pretty sure that this method is stable at the moment. So with our knowledge, I think that is exactly what happens. So sort by favorite location. So what is this thing doing? It takes A and B and favorites, and then it's calling another method that calls sort by location. So why not just use that method instead of doing weird stuff? Okay, A is Trufi location, then it contains A. If it is a street, then the junction fold is false and we search location contains a location. Okay, crazy shit. Sorry. I don't know where to start, to be honest. So, so at this point, we want to sort by the favorite locations. I would like to say, let's keep that out for now, but the problem is if I don't write a test for that, I am not sure that this stuff is not correctly sorted. So by what is it sorted? It is sorted by the location. If the location, so the favorites contains this location, then it is a variable. If B is a variable, that is the other location. That could be a location or a street. And if it is inside of the favorites, then we return B as a variable. If both are a variable, then we sort by something. Okay, so... Okay, easy enough. That would mean that these favorites are getting sorted somewhere. So should sort by favorite. Okay. Let's see how we can do that. So at the moment we don't have a favorite, but let's add one. So we take, I don't know, we can take a location. I think that would be easier. So where is our when part? I think we have that in the setup at the moment. Yes, exactly. So at the moment we return nothing, but we return now a location. Where is it? I think here. Okay, so we know now that the shortest distance is also our favorite. I think that is not a good option. So I would call that a favorite. And what I want to do is ordering that a little bit. Yeah, it's better. So now this is our favorite and we create this as a new one, I guess. that makes more sense. So down here in our large object with Trufi locations and everything that we have here, we create a new one. This is our location list. Get a comma here. We create this one. Okay. That looks good. Why cannot... okay, maybe no. Because the text is here too long. Okay, who cares? Not that important. Good. So now we have all that in place. This is working. So now our test will fail a little bit because I guess I would say because the list of length is not correct anymore. Yeah, and we get the shortest distance and sort by streets first. Should take limit, should sort by favorite. Okay, that worked. That here got a problem because we have to increase more or less. So this one cannot be good because that one takes, of course, the favorite into account. Like what we will have is like this. 0 would be favorite. Maybe we don't even have to create a new test for it because it makes sense. So and here we will have that the first one is a location in that area, right? So if I equals 1, then we expect that the results of I is a Trufi location, because this is our reason is favorite. Okay, and that would be by 4, and then we have here by 4. And that would be equal, right? Should sort by streets first. Result is not a Trufi street, so what did I do? I increased it. Yeah, but the first one is I unequal to, and this is not first, it's 0, 0, and this. Okay, cool. So we have our tests back and we get the favorite now. So also that is an account, so we don't need that last test actually, because we know already that it's sorted correctly with the favorite. So that means this sort by favorite location could be just the sort by location. Okay. So do we do anything else that is not tested yet? And in order to understand if we have something like that, let me show you a trick. Thanks to the newest update of the, I can show you the plugins, the, oh, I don't even have it installed. So this is the next thing of Flutter Enhanced Suite. Let's get that one. Thank you, Marius Höfler, at that point. As always, great job there. And you can see this is the old version. No, still not approved. So sad. Flutter Enhancement Suite. We have to go and download it manually. The problem is, or the good thing is, it got a new update where we have now code coverage. And this is amazing. But sadly, we don't have that on JetBrains yet. So we have to go to GitHub. And here we have the GitHub from him. And here's the release 1.5. And I share that with you, not because I don't have the links here. But I share it here with you. Flutter Enhancement Suite version 1.50 is important. Okay, so and done, you can download it as a zip file. And thanks to Android Studio, we can say here on this cog item, we can say install plugin from disk. And we go to the downloads, and here we have this scroll huge enhancement open. Was already installed. Yeah, that was unlucky. So we have to restart, and then we have to restart again. So let's see, we get the plugins. Oops, wrong keyboard. Plugins. Nope. So now we have that installed, but the wrong version. So now we go install plugins from disk. Now we take that one and open. We have to restart again. But now we will get the correct part. And what I can show you now is that this icon, if you configured that one correctly with tests and tests in all directories, you can click on this shield icon with that green arrow. And if you press that, you will see that we run all tests with so-called coverage. And what does that mean is the following, that you can see now in the official library inside of your IntelliJ, these green bars on the side. So you see which parts of your application has been tested. So you see this one is red, no test. This one is green, a lot of tests. And you can see how often it got hit by the whole thing. And this is how we can do it. And as you see, everything is tested. That means we didn't miss any loops or something. So no matter what we change now in this method, finally, because now we are ready to review. So I will commit all of that because that is now my first, let's say, initial commit to get these things done here. This is the test. We take that with us. So why is that in do not commit? No, that is the test that we created. We should have that with us in commit. Yeah. So all of that comes into our new branch fetch improvement. So let's add that. Exactly, that's good. So added tests for the offline request manager. And this is, I cannot add icons here, sadly. Okay, so this is, how do you call it? I think cleanup or testing? I think testing. So we finally made it testable. So we have some errors and issues. So let's see, pack spec has been edited. Okay, a weird issue. Let's see where this is true. No. All good then. Can't be referenced before it is declared. Oh, I made here a mistake somewhere. Okay. Isn't used. Yeah, I think I cannot do something against that. Somebody is deprecated. Okay, but I cannot do everything in this pull request. So testing is now the first step. We commit that. We commit it again. Commit failed. 18 files by commit testing. Unbranched, untracked changes, coverage. Nothing added to commit, but untracked file %. Okay, it gets problem with our coverage files. That is interesting. So where does that come from? Should be this part here. We don't actually need that, so let's see. Ah, okay. So yeah, so as you can see, we have now a lot of commits here inside. That is because we are working not on master, right? So we have an own branch that we create here. So I do it like that. And the system has also some interesting changes. Okay, we can take that too. But also here I have to take the correct remote. So also this is Flutter XP, and I think that should look better here. Okay, so push. Good. Okay, so hopefully that helps now and everything works correctly. Good. Now finally we can start to refactor this function. Now it starts with that place here. So, and I think it's 12 o'clock, so I will take something to eat and we will do that further in the next episode this afternoon. So please feel free to join me again in this afternoon. Looking forward to see you. Thank you for joining this morning. It was a fantastic session, and till later. Bye.